Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town Live. It's our May version as we come to each and every month, the last Wednesday of each month. This particular month, we're doing it in the morning at 9 a.m. So welcome each and every one of you as you turn in and hopefully grab a cup of coffee and just sit and enjoy the conversation that we have today. Today, early on, as you always know, we bring a little bit of a program or a little bit of a topic to the Talk of the Town before we go into the questions. I have our wonderful Pearland Chamber of Commerce folks, Jim and Jennifer, here with us this morning, and we're going to have some conversations around some of our business needs in our community, how we're meeting some of those needs, and have a great conversation to get us kicked off. But before we do, I really want to highlight something that really special happened in our community over the last week or so. We were informed through social media. In fact, this wasn't something that the U.S. News and World Report reached directly out to us. They did it through social media, and we came in and they are ranking cities and best places to live and all of that great stuff, as U.S. News and World Report does often. And we came in number 3 in the United States in best places to live. Number 1 in the state of Texas. So this was something that we didn't know they were doing in the background. We didn't know they were evaluating. It's not something that we sought. It's not like an award we put in an application for. Next thing you know, they just named us. So Jim, first off, give me your thoughts on that.
No, great, exciting news. Like you, on the social media and saw the great news that we're number 3. I mean, I know it's number 1 in all of our hearts, that we're the best, but number 3 in the nation and number 1 in the state of Texas. Just fantastic news, and it's a tribute to what we're doing in our community. From healthcare to quality of life. Pearland is a place that people choose to be at, and it's well known now by more people.
Right. Jennifer, thoughts on it?
Oh, I'm just so excited for everybody. I mean, what a great place Pearland is, a great place to work and live, and education is top notch. So, I mean, well deserved, I think.
Yeah, it was interesting because I wanted to know, okay, how, what, and where. What did they judge? The cities on? What did they do? And so actually, they actually put out their methodology. How did they look at it? And I just wanted to talk briefly about it. Quality of life, you mentioned that. The quality of life index was 26% of that score. Part of that is quality of education, quality and availability of healthcare. As you know, we've got great healthcare systems, not only in the city, but we're connected right to the medical center. Believe it or not, air quality, environmental risk, state economy, which the state of Texas is great, state infrastructure as part of that. Talking about value index, quality of education. Pearland ISD, Alvin ISD, Pasadena, all these ISDs that are around us do such a great job. Housing affordability, that's been a big topic in the legislature, but yet we're one of the more affordable places, to live. Crime rates. You guys talk about business all the time. Desirability index is 24% of the overall score, and one of the things that ranks right up there is crime rates. What are businesses telling you guys?
We hear very positive news from our businesses, and the times that we've heard where they've had concerns. What's great is about our police forces, they were there. They're monitoring it, they're educating people, and they're being proactive on it. And I think that's one great thing about Pearland PD. You can actually go, if you say, hey, there's some major issues in this area, you can go pull up the map and actually see what is what incidences have taken place in that area. You might think, hey, it's a major issue, but it's isolated on that end. And, and that goes beyond just our Pearland PD. Our sheriff's department, our constables, they're out there making sure that our safety is at the foremost.
Right. Yeah, and it's real important that we are proactive, but also that we respond accordingly when things do happen. Yeah. We all know we're connected to Houston. We're right there. We do have bad guys that come into our community and do certain things, and when they do, we want to respond accordingly and certainly catch and arrest and do things appropriately, but shut it down as quickly as possible. But having said that, part of the overall index, 23% of it was job market index, so which I think is a big piece of it. And I'll say this: when we look at the jobless rates, across the state, across the nation, and in Pearland. So generally speaking, and I'll say that generally when you look at them, you'll have the nation's unemployment rate. The state of Texas will generally be just below it, and then we are generally just below the state's unemployment rate. And I think a lot of that is because of the Med Center and our ties back into the Med Center. Those jobs are typically pretty safe and sound. We're not as tied in Pearland to oil and gas, even though we have an oil and gas economy, as much as you would be if you lived on the west end of Houston.
Right.
Those types of things. But that brings me to the topic that I really wanted to talk about with you guys. Just wanted to lead with U.S. News and World Report. Anytime you're listed in an index like that, it's great news. And that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges.
Right.
Doesn't mean that we don't have to rise to the occasion and fix something or do something. But having said that, I want to talk a little bit about the Innovation Hub that you guys contract with the city and our EDC on. As dealing with some of our issues with small businesses. There are issues out there. There are struggles of small business. But let's talk a little bit about the Innovation Hub, and I want you guys to talk a little bit. You guys took it over about a year ago.
Right.
And want to talk about what did you take over? How did you see that organization, and then where are we today?
Sure. June 1st will be 1 year that we've been managing the Pearland Innovation Hub. And, the program's been around for almost 3 years. The city and the Economic Development Corporation a couple of years ago recognized the need to do more for small businesses. And so ultimately what we decided was to create the Pearland Innovation Hub, which is the home of small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups. And I think that's important to know that it's the home for all three of those, because you could have the greatest business idea and you need help starting it, or you could already have a business and you're struggling on marketing or business strategy. And that's where the Pearland Innovation Hub took over. So last June, we took over the management of this organization. And over the last 12 months, our focus has been drawing awareness that there is a commitment in our community to support our small business. People say, hey, business club, the community is here to make sure you're successful. And we're going to pump resources into that. And so the whole purpose of this has been some programs designed to draw awareness of that, and then to get people to our proactive technical assistance. And I'll let Jennifer talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I just have to say too, being involved in this space now for a year, I am not an entrepreneur, I haven't been, but just hearing the stories of these entrepreneurs that are coming out and seeking these resources, and just knowing that Pearland is creating something that's highly unique in the area for our entrepreneurs. They're now not having to go to Houston or other regions to seek out these resources. And the project-based technical assistance, any Pearland business can obtain 10 free hours of this. Now, and that's projects. So that's if I needed help with my marketing plan, or I'm working on, it could be job descriptions. I'm trying to figure out what do I need in my business. All of those projects may not take 10 hours, but I can keep working through that and get business outcomes that way. And so we're actively measuring that for our businesses. Jim talked about our programs. We have many rolling events throughout the month with funding, bringing local lenders in to meet our businesses, entrepreneur insights where they're hearing stories of successful entrepreneurs in the community, so that hopefully as they build, they stay here in Pearland. And Morning Brew Connections. We want our entrepreneurs to really create their own ecosystem here, find mentors as well. So we bring them in on Morning Brew Connections to really just hear their journeys. So offering a lot of those programs.
So let's talk a little bit about the connections that we make within the hub, right? Yeah. So somebody needs a project based, or they need connections. Who do they get connected with? Yeah. How does that work?
We have a phenomenal navigator, Sonia Kasike. She's been with us since last July, and she is proactively working to create relationships within the community. So you can come see her. She'll get you all set up, and Jim, I'll let you.
Yeah, and so what happens is, so you come to the Pearland Innovation Hub, and you get connected with Sonia, and we say, hey, there's a project you need assistance with. What's great is we've tapped into national and local advisors. So we have tapped into experts in the field, because you might be the greatest chef in the world and you make the best linguine. And I'm just using something. Right. I know you do, Mayor, you make linguine at home all the time, I assume. No, but you might have the greatest, but you might struggle on HR side of things. You might struggle on marketing. And so that's where these resources come in and help people grow. And so the coaches might be locally, and they might be with them in person. It might also be a virtual coach that's based in Northeast, and they can help them design what they need to, because we really want them to be successful. And I think That direction has come from council. It's come through the Pearland Prosperity Plan.
Right.
We want to do as much for our small businesses, and sometimes they need help on that end. And it might also be tapping into the grant resources that we maintain on the website so they can tap into funding. It might be as much as, hey, we did a pitch competition 2 weeks ago,
Right.
the second one with the Innovation Hub, and we gave out a $5,000 grand prize to a great Yellow Apron bakery that's going to open up a shop here in Pearland. That's doing amazing. We want to make
Right.
give them all the resources they can to be successful.
So, you guys came to council. We had the Innovation Hub up for renewal with the Economic Development Corporation. Council has to approve that action. We actually heard from some very good speakers
Right.
who came in and over the last year have utilized the Innovation Hub and the resources that are available. Tell a little bit about their stories. And what was interesting is most of them had been in business for a while.
Right. I think that's what's great about the Innovation Hub. It's not just for people that had an idea yesterday and started up. We had a cleaning company that had been in business for almost 2 years. And they tapped into the proactive technical assistance on just business strategy, how to better streamline and be more efficient. 2 months later, they've seen 40% growth in sales. And they've actually seen the ability of making more money, where they're actually turning this from just an idea into a
Right.
career.
So, and I've often said this and I've heard it said, a lot of people who are in business for themselves, they're working in their business, not on their business. What does that mean when you hear that? And when I see the Innovation Hub, that's what I really see a lot of, is it's taking an entrepreneur, it's taking a business owner who is excellent at the craft, right? They may be an architect, they may be an engineer, they may be even a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
They're really good at that, but it's the business side of things that they might struggle with, so they need to work on. So what does that mean when they come to the hub?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think just like you said, I mean, they're working in their business. They're very hyper focused on, this. They're the subject matter expert in what they need to do.
Right.
So this resource allows them to kind of take that step out and analyze those things that they may need assistance on, and really take over that, take charge in that, so that they can work on those resources, but have somebody else help them too. I mean, these projects are being done for them, so they can go back to being inside, and those projects will get done, and then they can use that to improve their business and streamline it further.
So the piggyback off Jennifer, if they were building a website, say that they met with one advisor, say you need a better website, opposed to saying, hey, John, you need to go do these things for your website. The project-based technical assistant builds the website and makes those improvements for them, so they can keep doing what they do best, and it's not spending hours. It is a form of coaching, but it's project-based. It's project-based completions. You need help with this. We'll help you and do it for you, so that you already have that and can focus on what you do best.
My problem is it's the small things, it's the paperwork,
Right.
it's all of this. My mind thinks on projects when I'm in my personal career, property development. I'm thinking on project strategy out there. I'm thinking on negotiations or whatever the case may be. It's the small stuff that needs to happen on a day-by-day basis. It's like, oh gosh, I forgot to send that email. Oh, I forgot to make that phone call. And it's the focus. It goes back to the focus. I'm focused on doing this, and I forget about some of the small stuff. Yeah. And I think a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs. So let's talk about a startup. I mean, somebody has this incredible, phenomenal idea, and they want to create this business. How would they get started?
Yeah, no, I think we would plug them individually, and I think that's what's great about, as Jennifer mentioned, the navigator. Sonia's job is to help navigate them to the appropriate resources.
Okay.
And early on in that stage, it might be we need to connect them with the Small Business Development Center, because it's really designed on creating a business plan and helping you see if it's actually feasible. And
So let's talk about that.
Right.
Let's explain that organization, because it's different than the hub.
Absolutely. The Small Business Development Center through San Jacinto College is funded through the SBA, the
Right.
Federal Government Small Business Administration. Again, even we talk about locally, we don't want business to fail. Federal government doesn't want you to fail. And so
Right.
this is completely free resources
Right.
that you tap in. You work with their advisors, and they'll help you develop a business plan. And one of their main goals is to help you get capital and get funding. And so they'll work with Ali at our office or Robert and the great team there and help them get connected, Herb as well, help them create a strategy and create that business plan on that end. And so sometimes that might be the first step. It might be the upcoming cohorts that we're doing. We're going to bring those startups just together and have them work over multiple weeks, and that'll be in the fall of this year, where we work together and help them develop that strategy over multiple weeks. Or it might be, hey, we just need to meet with somebody and decide if this is even it sounds like a great idea in my head. Let's do the back end market research for them and say, you know what, you think there's a market for XYZ, but there's not, or B, it's way larger than you thought it was in the first place.
Right. So that's a great resource. So so what's up next for the Innovation Hub? I know the council passed and approved a 3-year contract. So explain where we're headed next with the hub.
Great. I mentioned cohorts. I think that'll be something you'll see launched later this calendar year. It's really smaller groups where people are coming together. We are doing a youth event for 6th through 8th graders. It's a 3-day camp in June.
I like that.
It's sold out, which is great. It's an awesome opportunity for those upcoming entrepreneurs in that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade space. But we are looking at college age. We're looking at high school kids. It's a well-rounded program. And one thing, we talked about this great resource, and I don't want people to think there's going to be this sales pitch at the end. It's completely free. All these resources, the 10 hours, the events, the grant resource, the access to navigation is all completely free for any business in Pearland or business opening up in Pearland, which is awesome on that end.
And I think that's what, when we're talking about free access, access to coaching, access to project-based, solutions, subject matter experts in certain fields that can help you move that way. This is funded through the Economic Development Corporation, which, to our folks that are listening in today, half-cent sales tax for economic development, that's where that money is generated. And so it doesn't all just go to help bring in, some mega business in or something of that nature. We want to be holistic in our entire approach to business. We have small entrepreneurs, we have small business. In fact, statistics show about 80% of our businesses across Pearland have 20 employees or less. And so clearly the majority of the business that you see in our community are considered small business. And so we want resources to help them. Another resource that we started a few years ago, Work in Pearland. That is a partnership with the Economic Development Corporation and our Chamber of Commerce. So Jim and Jennifer, explain how that program works, number one, and some of the successes.
I'll let Jennifer, because Jennifer is our Vice President, oversees our workforce strategy, so I'll let her tap into that.
Yeah, so this is a great website. It's actually set up like a virtual gamified job fair. So employers, again, it's another free resource. Any chamber member or business in Pearland can tap into this if they're hiring for free. And they can build a virtual booth, put their job description on it, and as the job seeker, again, completely free. If you're looking for a job in Pearland, you can go on, you can look at the companies, about them, and apply for jobs right through the platform and be able to communicate with these employers. So it is a great program. I think we have close to 300 jobs on the platform now, and about 3,000 job seekers looking for jobs. So it's great on both sides. We have had companies that have hired from it. At least I know of 10 businesses that have. So it is a great resource.
The great thing about that is, people use Indeed and some of these other resources, and they get charged a lot to go on those platforms. And again, this is a free resource to our locally owned businesses and locally owned job seekers. Again, it's that economic development dollar and the chamber dollar coming together to work for our community. I do want to brag on Work in Pearland a little bit as an initiative coming in as a mayor. People ask me if 10 years down the road, and you're successful at something, what would that be? And hopefully we can have people work in town, not just live here, but recreate here and go to church here, but also work right here, close to them. Our average commute is about 40-45 minutes one way. If you can get a job that's 15 minutes away, that's 30 minutes morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. That's 240 hours of your life back every single year. So I look at economic development and those types of things as a quality of life issue. Your quality of life is much higher if you're not having to commute 45 minutes one way. And so what does that mean? It's your time.
And that's 10 full days, Mayor, a year. Or 30
full days.
30 work days, 38-hour days. That you spend in your car commuting, and it's a great initiative, and I love that data that was uncovered on that end. The whole program started because somebody wanted us to buy a billboard on 288 saying, "Stop commuting into Houston. We have great jobs." Companies like Mitsubishi, Buc-ee's,
Yeah.
Third Coast, Lonza, Koza's. I'm only listing 5, and so somebody's gonna say you didn't list my company because there's so many great
There's so many,
companies,
right.
great companies out there. And what's great about this website for the employers there is that out of those job seekers on the website, roughly 92% of those are in 77581 or 84. So if you're an employer and you sign up, you not only get the booth to post your jobs and help people learn about employment opportunities, you can actually search resumes. And so if you're looking for an accountant or a bookkeeper, that's the same thing, or a seamstress, whatever it might be, you can search the resumes and look that way.
Right.
So you're getting the same advantage. This is Pearland saying, you know what, we're not going to be Indeed, but we're going to create a local job board that is seen as a gold standard in the economic development and chamber industry, because what we're doing to work in Pearland is unique, and it's again free
Right.
resources for businesses of all sizes, because
Right.
I love the direction that the city has taken through the city and the Economic Development Corporation, partnering with groups like the Pearland
Right.
Chamber, is that we want to see businesses be successful.
Right.
And it is the large companies and it's the small companies, and
Right.
it is a wide and deep resource that we're creating in our community
Right.
to make those businesses successful.
Yeah, and I'll dovetail back to some of our larger employers, our what we classify as our primary employers. Through the Chamber of Commerce, we're going to do a little bit all holistic Chamber of Commerce today.
We cover a little bit of stuff there.
But our BizConnect
Right.
program, Jennifer specifically, let's talk a little bit about our BizConnect program, because that is an initiative between Economic
Yeah.
Development Corporation and our
Yeah,
chamber.
we have some great
And
partnerships with
absolutely.
the EDC. We love it. So really, we want to be proactive with our primary employers. We want to meet with them. So we reach out to them, schedule meetings once a year just to see how they're doing. We want to know, are there any plans to expand? How's your workforce doing? I mean, again,
Right.
like Jim mentioned, initiatives like Work in Pearland come out of meeting with our primary employers and just understanding where we can help.
Right.
So it really is a targeted approach to better serve them in this community. Again, and also let them know what's going on. If there's construction that might be happening that may impact their business, to
Right.
just bringing these resources, getting police, fire in front of them to say, hey, we're here if there's anything that needs to be done. So it's a great program. I'll let Jim, if he wants to elaborate on anything. but-
We're here to connect. That's
Yeah.
what we do, and I think that's where the trust in us is that we talk to businesses every single day,
Yeah.
small and large, and we actively listen so we can create relationships, so we can solve problems in our community.
Yeah.
And that's where our role comes in. When we create those relationships, I think that's where when we solve problems, it's always a partnership. It's never us coming to council and saying, hey, there's a major issue. It's coming to council and say, hey, we've heard this. Let's work together to make a better solution.
Yeah, and what I like about the BizConnect connections, when we sit down, we have lunch with them or whatever the case may be, it's really taking that opportunity to hear a business owner or a plant manager, or somebody that's the local subject matter expert of their business, just us stop talking, let them talk about their business, and you can see their whole day change because they're so proud of what they're building. And then you get those opportunities where you say, where are your struggles? Where can we help? What do you need resources for? And just listening, and through that, wow, we need to maybe increase a patrol for a particular area. We had some crime issues up off the Beltway with a business, a few years ago. So proactive approach to that, and they haven't had any issues since. We've had some issues with Centerpoint and some power struggles, not power struggles, but power struggles, because we have a few businesses that power is very, very sensitive to their business. So if there's even a glitch, it causes major interruptions to their business. So having those connections and then making the connections to our resources just really helps those communities. So, you guys are doing a great job over at the Chamber. It's exciting. You guys were, ranked number 1 in the nation here a couple of years ago. We didn't quite get to number 1 with U.S. News and World Report.
There's a lot more cities than there are chambers there, so number 3 is really good.
Number 3, number 1 in the state.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of great things happening there. Even with that, we do have our struggles. We do have our challenges. I think the best thing about all that is we've got great people in place in all of our organizations to meet challenges. When one arises, we meet the challenge and we get we get after it.
Right.
So I want to thank both of you for coming out on a very wet day.
A little bit.
Thank you for having us.
The temperature is great.
That
for this time of the
was
year.
one of the reasons we are the top cities is climate and weather. So.
Climate and weather. It's a little stormy out today, but that's okay. I want to thank you guys
Thank you,
both
Mayor.
for coming
Thank
in
you.
and spending some time with us this morning, talking about the Innovation Hub and another resource for our folks here in our great community can access if they're looking to grow their business. So with that, we're going to turn over to a quick commercial about some of our activities that are coming up this
Wonderful.
summer. All right, welcome back each and every one of you. As you can see, our folks from the chamber took off. They had things to do, and I'm welcomed today by Tori. Okay, so Tori, I want you to introduce yourself. How long have you been at the city? How did you find yourself here in our communications department? So brag about yourself for a few minutes.
Thank you, Mayor Cole. And let me just say thank you for the opportunity to have me here speaking with you today in Josh Lee's absence. And so I am, my name is Tori, and I was originally in the finance department. And I then took this position here as the business administrator of communications. Okay. So I've really enjoyed my journey here in City of Pearland. It's been, and I say this not just because you're the mayor, but this has been my favorite job I've ever had. I mean, sometimes it doesn't feel like a job because of just the commitment that everyone around me shows, and just the general energy of City of Pearland.
Yeah, what I like about that is I think vast majority of our employees have a servant's heart. They want to serve their community. They want to serve the people of Pearland. They want to serve in their departments and just do the best that they possibly can. And just for people watching, I mean, we have hiccups from time to time, and we have processes in place to deal and handle those. But I think you're exhibiting and see that commitment to our community. Our bosses, every single one of our bosses are the people who call Pearland home, and I love that, and love just trying to do our best, for them. But with that, you guys had submitted some questions before today, and if we have some questions come in today, we're going to do our best. There's a lot of questions that got submitted. We're going to do our best to just hit rapid fire and get through some of these questions. But let's start. We had quite a few questions around our parks area, so let's just group those kind of together, and we'll hit those real quick. So Tori, take off.
Perfect. So the first one regarding our parks was one of our citizens said, "Can we have a public pickleball court, please?" And our director in Parks and Rec answered that question
Right.
On a different question, a different comment,
Right.
where very much the same vein. It said, "Is there any plans to build tennis/pickleball courts for the community in the west side of Pearland?"
Right.
And somebody mentioned that it could go where the abandoned site is on the business center.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that, and I'll answer some of all those together. So yes, we are exploring multiple locations in our community for some additional pickleball courts that are open to the public. We are exploring that through our Parks Department. What they're trying to finalize now is costing and getting those projects keyed up. You know, we can't just run out and go build. We have to go through, you know, how we fund those, how we advertise to bid those out, because those projects would certainly be higher than a certain threshold to just go and do. So we have to go through a process to get those done. But we have looked at the west end of our community of extending some pickleball courts into those areas. At the same time, I do know that that is an ongoing topic as we redo the second phase of Independence Park to have some additional pickleball courts here. There is pickleball at the rec center. There are specified times for pickleball courts inside there. So we do have that. We are looking at how we can boost that and get a little bit better. I do want to talk about the abandoned site, the question on, so for those who may not know, on the west end of our community on Business Center Drive, directly behind HEB and Academy over there, off of Broadway. There's a building that's about halfway up, it's about halfway complete, and it's been abandoned. And this question revolves around that. Somebody asked the question, can the city buy that site, tear it down, and build like a rec center, a pool, pickleball courts, places for kids to go after school, those types of things. So in relationship to all that. So I want to talk a little bit about the site and why it was abandoned. This is a real sad situation. We talked about it on this show before. It's a real sad situation. It's been abandoned for about 4 years now. The developer of an assisted living center passed away mid-construction. Real sad situation. His business partner did not continue it forward. His wife is not in the business, didn't know where, what, and how to move forward with it. Ultimately, the bank had to foreclose and take it back. They did everything possible without having to foreclose, and unfortunately had to. So now the bank owns it, and they're looking at how do we put this back into production. There are some developers that have been looking at it. Do they keep it as an assisted living center? We've got a developer group that's interfacing with people in the Shadow Creek area right now of turning it into a multifamily complex, which assisted living and is similar to that, different but similar. And so we've asked them, you need to engage the community, and we need community to say we're okay with this. We've heard from a lot of people they're not okay with the multifamily unit out there. So, questions are now being raised, well, what else could be done with this? We have some real questions from the city standpoint on the viability of the structure that's actually out there today. So, that's a long drawn out potential legal issues with the property owner, the bank that's there right now. So more to come as we know a little bit about all that. But lots going on there. There was also a question, since we're talking about that specific area of town, about the Southdown Park. Right there, you have the dog park in the Southdown Park. Some people were questioning, why is it taking so long after Beryl to get some of the shade structures back and those types of things. Again, when these things happen, most of these are structures are custom made for these structures. So having to go and do and get those lined up for funding and all of that just takes some time. It's just like at your house. If you're not ready to re-roof your house after a storm, it may take you a few months to get it up and going. What I have been told is that structure has been ordered. It is on order. We are now awaiting for it to come in so it can be installed, of course, just in time for a new hurricane season.
Yes.
So, so who knows? Well, hopefully we get it in and it will survive the hurricane system. But so that's kind of all in that parks area. Lots going on there as we queue it up. But let's hit some of these questions and we'll go through them.
So the next parks related question was about, it actually, that you actually answered it, the South Down Park.
Right.
So thank you for answering that, Mayor Cole. And then the next one of our citizens asked, why is Astro Pond being denied permits to participate in local events? It is an upstanding, tax-paying, community-supporting business that should not be seen as undesirable. The owner supports many local charities and should be treated equally. And Ms. Carrie Capers did respond on that note.
Yeah, and I want to echo what Carrie said. Astro Pond is a great company. What they were asking to do was set up a booth to be able to, I think, sell their merchandise and those types of things at some of our concerts in the park.
Right.
And those types of things. And those are not designed for those. And so what they were seeking there, we don't let anybody come and do that.
Right.
We do have nonprofit organizations that may come and talk about their nonprofit, or we might have those types of things, but we don't force, for-profit businesses aren't allowed to do that. We do have sponsors
Yes.
for an overall event, like HEB or companies like that will sponsor the entire series, and they're there. But I can assure you, we welcome Astro Pond into our community, and we'd welcome them to be a part of our Parks Department in various ways throughout the year. But just specifically what they were asking for was not something that we would allow a business, not just a pond business, any business, a for-profit business to be able to do. But we have Hometown Christmas,
Yes.
We've got Spring Fest coming up, we've got Celebration of Freedom, July 4th coming. All of those kind of things, and there's some great options for Astro Pond to pick up and be a part of our community.
Other opportunities, just not
Right.
concerts in the park
Right.
specifically.
Right.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah.
And let's see, let's go to the next one here, and let's see. I believe we already answered that one, excuse me. So the next one was regarding the bleachers at the gym and the rec center. So it says,
Yeah.
did you want to go ahead and take that one, Mary?
Yeah. Go ahead and read the question, and it's a great question.
Perfect. So it says, hello, Mary Cole. Can you provide an update on what is going on with the bleachers and the gyms at the rec center? A little over a week ago, the bleachers were retracted back in. Chairs were put out, but at times there is not enough for people to sit while waiting their turn to play. Many of these people are older, in their 70s and 80s. The rumor going around is that a city employee grabbed one of the handrails and fell due to the locking pin missing. Hopefully that is just a rumor. Looking forward to any update you can or will provide.
Yeah, so great question. We did have a problem with the handrail because of the danger associated with the handrail, and especially maybe having an aged population using the gym at given times. So we have pushed the stands in until the new handrail mechanisms or the rails themselves are coming in. We've got some parts on order, so when they come in, we will be able to fix and repair. That's not something we just keep on hand.
Right.
So we did have to order parts. It's my understanding they're on order, and as soon as they come in, we will fix and repair those, and we can go back to using the stands as normal. But until then, we do have chairs set out. If we need more, we can bring more in. Shouldn't be a big deal in being able to do that. But like anything, we want our people to be safe.
Right.
In a safe environment like that. I don't know about the rumor if it was an employee or somebody else. I don't know how, what, or where it got broken. But the fact is, the handrail is broken. It's a danger to people to use it. So it's better to have them not retracted out and using them rather than putting somebody in danger.
So just mitigate the risk altogether, put out the seats, and that is what has created that.
And and that happens when you have people using a building like that. I mean, things will break, and when they do, we have to make calls whether or not to use something the way it is, or we have to not use a room or not use a particular area because of the safety issue.
Right.
Right.
Excellent. Well, I believe that may wrap up the parks related questions. I didn't see any on there, so
Yeah.
did you just want to start?
Yeah,
from the
just start at
beginning
the
then?
front, and
Perfect.
yeah, we'll just go through these questions. We have quite a few questions, and we'll try to hit these rapid fire.
So the first one was, can there please be a Methodist hospital built in Pearland/Manville?
I love it, and the answer is yes. However, we have to get Methodist Hospital to want to come down and be able to invest in our community to be able to do that.
Right.
You know, currently we have HCA and Herman Memorial with facilities, hospital facilities in our community. That would be a call that Methodist Hospital would have to make in order to come. We do have space in that particular mini medical center that's out there. But we would welcome Methodist Hospital, but it would take Methodist Hospital to want to be here to make that happen.
And Kelsey Siebel as well.
Correct. Yeah.
So on to the next question. What are your thoughts on with the SB 2858 and SB 3016? From my understanding, these would further preempt at a state level and potentially could result in the withholding of sales tax revenue to municipalities by the state.
Yeah, so I'll be brief. I know a little bit more about 2858 than I do 3016, but it's a Senate bill preemption. So currently, state law exists in various areas, whether it's health code or building code or all different kinds of codes throughout our community. So that is a minimum level. If we want to be more restrictive, we can't go less restrictive, we can go more restrictive. These preemption bills preempt cities from being a little bit more restrictive. And so SB 2858 specifically, the problem we have with it is not holding us to a standard. We're okay with accountability, we're okay with holding us to a standard. I'm okay with that. But if an attorney general decides, well, I think this city is violating the law and brings a suit, whether they have proof or not, you are guilty until you're proven innocent, the way the law is written. You're automatically, your sales tax dollars go away, any grants go away, anything from the state level is completely cut off until you prove yourself innocent. And that's just not how legal due process works. So that's the issues we have with the bill. There was a super preemption bill last session. This is the new super preemption bill this session. As for right now, we've got about 4 days left of the legislative session. I don't believe SB 2858 has made it to the House floor. If that's the case, I think there was a deadline last night at midnight that may not allow that to come to the floor. But as always, we watch those things very carefully during the legislative session, and we'll know more on June 2nd when the legislature is finished.
So just
Yeah.
we'll keep our
Right.
citizens posted on
Right,
that.
right.
The next comment was, we'd be honored if you consider bringing Alkaline Oasis Water Store into city buildings and offices. As a family-owned business at 1819 Broadway Street, we've been serving Pearland with pure local water for years. Imagine our 5-gallon jugs refreshing city staff, supporting a small business while boosting hydration. Could you share your thoughts during the live stream on May 28th?
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of having this company, contact us through proper channels, through our purchasing area, and seeing what we could potentially accomplish. I don't know where, what, or how that would look. It's something that we would have to look at doing. We do have vending machines and areas within our city buildings for our employees, and we certainly want to use local business. So I would just ask the folks at Alkaline to reach out in through proper channels, and we can get some information to them.
Submit their paperwork,
Yep.
and let's see. I know we have
Right.
businesses of all types that we
Right.
use here.
Right.
And the next comment was, please add a Shadow Creek High School shark logo to the water tower on Kirby. Dawson High School has their logo on the water tower on Colon, and Pearland High School and Turner High School have their logos on the water tower on Bailey. Thank you.
Yeah, and that is the plan. So we put those on there because those water towers were in the process of being rehabbed. And so instead of putting the city logo on there, we put the high school mascot logos on those 2 water towers. It's my understanding in the next year or 2, one of the water towers in Shadow Creek, near Shadow Creek High School, is undergoing the same rehab process. And when that happens, we will change the logo out. It doesn't make sense for us to spend the money
Right.
to go up and change the logo out until we're rehabbing it. But I do know that's in our CIP plan within our enterprise funds to do that. And when that happens, we'll put the Sharks logo on that particular water tower.
Excellent, excellent. And this one was actually, we kind of touched on this already. So they said, can we turn the abandoned site on Business Center into a recreation center?
Yeah.
We do not want or need any type of multi-family project there. We need resources to support the people we already have. And there was a commenter that chimed in, said, agree 100%, and so do many of our SCR neighbors based on multiple conversations.
Yeah, so what I'd ask on something like that would be a large capital projects that we would have to undergo through our Parks Department. It would be something that we at the council level would want our voters and our residents to weigh in on. So that would ultimately be a capital improvement program that we would go to the voters in order to do. We would need to, what's that cost? What does it look like? Is the site truly big enough, for what, is mentioned in here? All of those kind of things would have to be looked at. We do have a Parks Master Plan. Does it fit into that master plan and how we work it? I think it's a great idea in what could happen there. Ultimately, it would take our council, working with our staff, to prepare something to go to the voters. I don't know where our council would fall on it. I don't know if it's something they would be interested in. I think it's a great idea for a site. More than likely, the entire site would just have to be scraped and start over. That's an expense, and we just need to see what that looks like. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. And the next question is a roads condition question. It says, roads in Wood Creek subdivision are a mess, holes, huge cracks. For some reason, Taylor Lane in Wood Creek was repaved last summer, but the rest of the subdivision was not. Taylor Lane has huge, expensive homes. Did someone have a connection there? Is it possible to budget road repairs for these older subdivisions?
As a matter of fact, we do, and an asphalt overlay versus completely tearing out concrete streets and rehabbing those are vastly different. One are literally in the millions and millions and millions of dollars, and the overlays are not. So I know we have our pavement condition index, and so I want to kind of cut off a theme in this question, that we don't look at an expensive neighborhood versus a less expensive neighborhood versus my neighborhood or somebody else's neighborhood against each other. We actually look at it from a very scientific, data-driven approach. Every 5 years, we drive this neighborhood with a specific type of equipment that gives us a pavement condition index. That pavement condition index is the data that we use to then program the streets and the order in which we will go in and repair streets. Specifically, our asphalt streets go a little bit quicker because, again, it's much easier, much quicker to make that happen. I don't know, Joe, do we have the PCI where we can throw that up?
I've got it right on that neighborhood as well. Can you see that, Mayor?
No, it's not popping up on this one.
1 second.
And where can our citizens find this pavement conditions index?
Yeah, so underneath our, if you go to engineering, if you go into departments on our website and go into engineering, it'll be in our roadways and streets. When you click on that icon within that, you'll see this pavement condition index. So you can see on the right-hand side from red on the bottom, very, very poor, all the way to green on the top. You'll see the Wood Creek kind of right in the middle being yellow.
Right.
This is after the Taylor Lane and some of those were redone, and you can see they're now at green. I believe those were in a kind of an orange state or even red state prior to the work being done. And so this is the type of thing that we will do those projects, and it's based on this type of data. Again, it's a data-driven approach. It's not a who you know
Right.
or who you're best friends with or anything of that nature. So I shouldn't receive special treatment over someone else. You know, someone in a given neighborhood shouldn't receive, you know, special treatment from someone else. And since it always comes up in our Talk of the Town, go to Veterans Drive south of Magnolia, for example. You know, that is, scroll down. You know, so you know, that is a project that, and you can actually click on the project itself. You should be able to click on it, and it gives you a score and a rating. And then if you go south of Magnolia, I think it drops worse. And you know, Veterans is one of those projects in our community that we're doing with the, yeah, there it is. Does that say marginal? Yeah. So it dropped from fair to marginal. And so this is actually a project, for example, we're doing with Brazoria County later this summer as part of our pavement work that we do every year with them. So it's just an example of, we go through and we look at the worst roads go first.
Right.
Now, somebody like Wood Creek, that's going to take bonding, because when you do that project, we're talking, if you're going to replace all the streets within Wood Creek, you're talking 12, 15, $18 million to go and do. And so just like we just completed Willowcrest is an example. It's a neighborhood that's older than Wood Creek. We completely new streets, sidewalks, water, sewer, drainage, and everything in their subdivision. That would be the kind of project we would do in Wood Creek.
I see.
But until then, a lot of times we will smooth things over with asphalt. It's not the best in the world, but we'll do that. And then some other things that we will do is we'll come in and we'll replace panels. So we'll look at the entire neighborhood and say, you know, we need 3 or 4 different panels in the neighborhood, and we'll do panel replacement as opposed to entire street replacement.
And the panels are concrete.
They're all
correct?
concrete. So it's just a difference of dealing with the concrete versus an asphalt overlay. One's much quicker, the other one takes much more time and is way more expensive. So when we go to those expense, it's not, we don't have 12 or $15 million allocated for street repair every year. And so those are bonding opportunities.
Right.
We have to go to the voters to get approved. And I know Wood Creek, Green Tea, and the like are all in a queue to be able to go to the voters
I see.
for replacement. It's a
Thank
great
you, Mayor.
question, though.
Since we're on the subject of roads, would you like me to look at some of the other questions regarding that? Not exactly the same, but it says there, the next question is, when can we expect construction to begin on the completion of the Hughes Berry Rose Pearland Parkway extension?
Yeah, it's a great question. This was a 2023 bond program project, and we are in design phase right now. I'm trying to go through my head and understand the timing of it. I wouldn't expect to go to construction until probably early 26, somewhere in that time frame. It'll take about 18 months or so to complete. We are having to widen that bridge that goes over Clear Creek. That's going to be the longest part of that project. But the good news is we are in design phase. We are partnering with Harris County on that. That is about a $10.5 million project. We're getting about $4.8 million from Harris County. Economic Development Corporation put in a little bit on that one as well, along with the city and our bond program. So I would expect that to go under construction in 26.
Wonderful, well on its way. And then another road paving question. It says, any update on when the Hughes Ranch Road between Cullen and Stone Road will be striped? It's been 9 months now since the road was paved. It's dangerous at night without the reflective lines. Was a final inspection not done to ensure the job was completed?
It's a great question. I don't know. So on this one, just ask our staff. Let us get that question asked and answered, and we'll put that back into the comments.
Sure thing. Yeah, we'll follow up on that one
Yep.
there.
Yep.
And there's another question a little further away. It says, when will Isla Drive be paved?
Be paved? That's part of our drainage projects. I'll have to get the schedule on that because I know Isla Drive is going through one of our 2023 drainage projects. I don't know where it falls in the queue. We should be doing engineering on that probably in the next year or so. So I would expect that to be a year or so following that. Let us get the specifics on that particular CIP project and we can put that in the comments.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think this might be the last road-related
Okay.
question. It says, is it possible to get a sidewalk to go along Veterans Road connecting from Walnut to Magnolia? I've seen many over the years try to get through north-south, but parts have no sidewalks and have to get close to the road. Not everyone drives safely around somebody walking or biking there. Maybe a few additional biker sidewalk lanes elsewhere too.
Yeah, so we need to check in. There's a drainage project, again, part of the 2023 drainage bond program. There is a drainage project from Walnut to Magnolia. Those ditches along that roadway really prohibit us from putting a sidewalk. They are super deep, they are super wide, and it's putting a sidewalk that makes it safe. I need to look at the actual scope of that drainage project. There may be some sidewalk as a part of that. As part of the 23 bond program, we've had several questions about gaps in sidewalks and those types of things. And so in that, we have money from the bond program for sidewalk replacement and sidewalk repair, as well as sidewalk gaps. We have analyzed the entire city and we have programmed that work in sections across our city. I would just need to see if that's also a part of where some dollars can come to put those sidewalks. And I know there's another question about one of the schools, and it would be the same thing. It would be making sure that we have, it would be in that gap program as part of that bond program. We just need to look at it and we can respond to those directly into the comments. But always good questions.
And I'm going back again to earlier. It says, when will there be family entertainment venues or a water park? Pearland is plenty big enough and still growing.
Yeah, so ultimately those are going to have to be, those are private development questions. That is private investment that comes into our community. I can tell you, as we have conversations with developers, for example, we've had people look around the Bass Pro Shops area.
Right.
You know, we've asked, we want to bring more entertainment opportunities, entertainment venues, you know, to our community. Not necessarily specifically water park, but we have talked about entertainment venues. You know, we've talked to developers on Pearland Parkway. You know, is there an opportunity for some type of an entertainment venue and restaurants and outdoor recreation areas, similar to what you see at Baybrook? We've talked to developers about that. Ultimately, the developers have to make that call. Is it sustainable? Can they pay for it? Can it stay there long term? Is the development sustainable? Those are private development questions. We're here to answer and ask, but the city does not do those developments. Those are private dollars that do those developments. So I would ask anyone who's asking these questions, you know, go ask Main Event, go ask Dave & Buster's. You have a Dave & Buster's at Baybrook. And one of our drawbacks of where we are located is we have a lot of these types of venues in the 45 corridor, and you have a lot of venues in the 59 corridor to the west. And so we're in the middle, and it's hard sometimes for those companies to justify bringing something here and overlapping their current places. But that doesn't mean that we have to have exactly what's there. It could be something different. But the city is always asking the development community, what can we do here from an entertainment standpoint?
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm glad that's on the radar. And let's see, going to the next one here. I believe we've answered these.
Question 12, is there anything slated to go into the building next to the Kroger off Berry Rose? And what is going into the Cons along with the new building next to it? Also, anything going on the Pearland Parkway where the Kroger was going to build? Thank you so much. Again, these are all you know, private development questions. Those are private centers next to Kroger. I haven't heard specifically. I do know a fitness center has come in to take a look at the Cons right here off of Pearland Parkway. And I don't know, I think the strip center they already had the expansion of the small building on the east end of that center already slated to go under construction before Conn's announced they're going out of business. So I'm not sure what they have slated for that. We can check with our development folks here at the city to see if there's anything specific that has named to go into the expansion there. But I do know one of a fitness location has talked about going into the Cons. That's a rather large space. I think it's 20 or 25,000 square
Yes.
feet. So it's not a small space to try to take up. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. And let's see, going to the next one, I believe is our bridge question.
Yeah.
So it says, this is a bridge over the American Canal on Magnolia Parkway. This bridge is in very bad condition and I'm concerned it will collapse anytime soon. Heavy trucks go through the area even when the sign says not to. This is the area between Kingsley Drive and 521. The section of Magnolia Parkway was not part of the expansion and it is in very bad shape.
Yeah, let's flag this to get with our county. I believe that's actually going to be a Brazoria County roadway area. But let's get that turned over to staff, and we can get back into a question. You know, we can answer this online.
For sure.
You know, yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. And the next question, what can we do to have food truck parks built or bring more opportunities within the city limits for food trucks? The Brazoria County side apparently seems to allow, but not on the city side. Food truck parks are popping up in a lot of places and nothing truly on the south of Houston. I believe it would be a great opportunity to bring that to Pearland. And then somebody chimed in that Cole's Market on 35 has one that does not get used.
Yeah, I was going to say we do have. It's Comida Park is what they call it. One there is an opportunity. We are in the midst of rewriting our Unified Development Code, and one of the aspects of rewriting the code is how, where, and what to do with food trucks. What does that look like?
Right.
Where do we want them? How does that all play out? So that is something that we're doing a deep dive on as we rewrite the Unified Development Code. We would expect completion of that in the next year to 18 months. But food trucks and how we do those are in the mix.
Excellent, thank you. Let's see. The next question says, Mayor Cole, you have been so open to taking my emails and even met with me in person regarding some things happening over here on the west side, and for that I thank you so much. I do want others to know that you are always open to input and concerns. Everyone, if you have any concerns, he is great about responding. I do have some additional concerns regarding an uptick in homelessness I'm seeing on the west side. What is the city and council doing to address this specifically?
Yeah, it's a great question. In fact, had some discussions just yesterday, and I'm going to answer this. This is going to be government speak, and I hate that. It really depends. I hate to say it that way. We have seen an uptick in some homelessness, and then where, what, and how we deal with a person in a situation like that is specific to where they are. I'll give you an example. If they are located in one of our parks, or if they're located in public right-of-way, or if they're located in a drainage area, we've had homelessness, for example, Pearland Parkway and Clear Creek, down underneath the bridge. That is public land. State law is very specific to that. It is not allowed. We can arrest them, we can move them out, and those types of things. When it's on private property, though, like in a strip center,
Right.
so someone will show up and sleep on a sidewalk inside a strip center, it takes, and I hate to say this, our officers can't just simply act.
Right.
It takes a complaint of the actual property owner for us to do something.
It has to come from the property owner.
It
then?
has to come from the property or their agent. A lot of the property owners have, management companies and those types of things. So we are actually had this exact conversation with our chamber, with our economic development folks, as well as others yesterday, because we are seeing an uptick.
Right.
We're trying to put together the right information and then host how, what, and where our businesses can respond to these types of things. And I know we've had an uptick, for example, across the street from HCA Hospital. The Kroger Center over there has had an uptick recently. And again, it takes working with the property owners
Right.
to be able to do something. So That's not the best answer in the world, but it is something that we're aware of, and it's something that we work on. Now, if a homeless person is doing something illegal, if they're doing something, exposing themselves, or we've seen people where they've talked about horrible things that humans, potentially do, and if we see that or somebody sees that doesn't take the property owner to
Right,
to
that's a
do.
different offense.
That's a different thing. So, unfortunately, people in our world end up in this type of a situation. Our hearts do, hurt for people in those types of situations. We want to get them the help needed off the streets and somewhere, but our hands get somewhat tied when it's on private property. I'll give you an example. Won't name the business. We had a family living behind that business in a tent for a couple of years, but the property owner wouldn't do anything about it.
Right.
We actually had to exercise a zoning case against them because residential was not allowed,
Right.
even though it was in a tent. And it took us putting pressure on the business from a Chapter 54 case in order to go after them. We prefer not to do that, but we do have those tools necessary if it persists.
I see.
And so, again, that's not the best answer in the world, but it's the legal answer of what we have to do.
But we're gathering resources and
Correct.
we'll be providing those.
That's correct.
Let's see. And the next question is anything being done to bring more sit-down restaurants or entertainment venues to the Pearland Parkway part of town? Everything is on the 288 side, which is really frustrating. And this goes back to a similar question we answered before.
It does. And again, it goes back to private development, bringing those types of things in. We don't, by our Economic Development Corporation and those types of things, we don't go and attract retail, which retail restaurant, would be that. I will give you an example. So you mentioned Kelsey Seabolt. Kelsey Seabolt is buying a piece of property off of Pearland Parkway. You can see the zone change signs up
Right.
as you drive by. If anybody's wondering, there's, I forget how many acres, 28 or 29 acres or something like that, that's being purchased. They're looking to put a new clinic in the area. They do not know what's going to happen with the balance of their property, so they're coming in with a pretty modest zone change just for general business, which will allow their clinic. But we've talked to developers, in that area before. What can you do to bring entertainment? What can you do to bring, these types of things? We get asked, and so we ask. It's up to the market to ultimately be there. What we don't want to see is businesses come in and they aren't sustainable.
Correct.
Restaurants, it's very tough business because they have to have daytime business, not just 4 to 10 o'clock. They have to have daytime business in order to survive, and it's harder and harder for daytime businesses or restaurants to survive during the day. It's really hard. Somebody like Killen's, they have a reputation. They draw from way far away from Pearland. They can afford not to be open at lunch because their business is sustainable. Not all restaurants are that way. So it is something that we work on. It is something that we talk about often. Yeah.
And the next question says, just public transportation, question mark.
Not a big fan in our community. I hate to say it that way. The city of Pearland and the voters, back when Metro was looking to expand, this is many, many decades ago now, the city of Pearland voted no to joining Metro's taxing authority. It stops at the Beltway. And so public transportation like buses and those types of things have routinely been met with big resistance in our community. Having said that, the city completed a transit study here with Houston Galveston Area Council a few months ago. We had that report. We should have that report and be able to actually send that report to this person. But one of the things that came out of that report is microtransit. So if you have somebody that needs to go to the medical center, elderly, disabled, people of that nature who need to get to the med center or various places, microtransit would be more of a Uber, Lyft type of a situation. One of the recommendations from the transit study was that could be a possibility for us to explore and look at. And most people are a lot more amenable to that. What most people that I hear from do not want is a bus service up and down 518 or bus service from Pearland into Houston. Having said that, we do know that there are people who could and would enjoy that. The question is it large enough to sustain it?
Correct.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor. And the next comment says, thank you for these Q&A sessions. The West Side seems to be the target for an overabundance of apartment and multifamily housing. What else can be built instead? Pearlanders pay some of the highest taxes in the state and the nation. We would like more amenities on this side of town that we can enjoy and add value to our quality of life.
Yeah, and I think I addressed that in the previous question with the assisted living center that's now sitting there. Ultimately, additional amenities from the city would require a vote of the people. I will say this, for the folks on the west end of our community, I was on council when we built the natatorium and the rec center. We did the natatorium in connection with the Economic Development Corporation and Pearland Independent School District. Pearland Independent School District donated and supplied the land for that project. At that specific time, we had meetings with Alvin Independent School District to see if they wanted to do the same thing, and they, at that moment in time, said no. They had pools within their high school, and I think they may even inside their junior highs, and they didn't want to enter a partnership with the city. Having said that, different leadership today, different people today. Right. So at that particular time is the reason why the location where the natatorium sits today was located. So.
And then the next one says, why does the city waste money on planting pretty flowers and trees that don't bear fruit?
Not really sure specifically where they're talking about. Obviously, trees that don't bear fruit, if they did bear fruit, we would then have to have expense of collecting that fruit and those types of things. We do have a standard that on our roadways, we want to look professional, different. I will say this, I get this question often where people don't want us to be Houston.
Right.
But they want us to look like Houston. And I'll just say it that way, okay? I want a different curb appeal, I want a different look, I want a different feel for our community. So when you drive into our community, I want people to know, wait a minute, I'm in a different place.
Exactly.
Okay, and so there is a balance between too much and not doing anything. And so if you just pave it over with concrete or if you just have grass, there's still maintenance that has to be done. As far as fruit-bearing trees, I wouldn't want to see fruit-bearing trees because what happens, they're going to fall, that's going to be a mess to clean up.
And pest.
And those types of things. So I wouldn't call it a waste of money. That's, we'll agree to disagree with the poster.
So on to the next question. Says, my son just graduated from ACC with an associate in business. Can you assist with getting him a job with Pearland? This was great because we just had that segment with Jim and Jennifer with work in Pearland. So
Absolutely.
This is a good question for this time.
Yeah, so number one, I would recommend that they go to workinpearland.com and explore that. In addition, I don't know if this is closed or not. I know we have some interns coming in for the summer.
Yes.
I don't know what departments and exactly where. Maybe we can get that with HR back to this particular person. I don't know if that internships are closed or not, but I do know we have some starting here in a few weeks.
I believe we've already shared the job postings with City of Pearland, so thank you, Mayor. And then why did construction on Miller Ranch Road stop?
I need to dig into this one. I didn't know we were constructing or doing anything on Miller Ranch Road. I do know that we've had a project on Smith Ranch Road. Perhaps the poster has the wrong road. Let's look into that a little bit deeper. Perfect. We might be able to ask a clarifying question.
It says, who maintains Makawa between McHardt and Broadway? It could use some love and some lines. Yep. Veterans between Magnolia and Bailey could also use some attention. Thank you for the blinking yellow at Veterans in Magnolia. Would love to see that more along Magnolia. Yeah,
so great question. Who maintains Makawa between McHardt and Broadway? That is the city. We have a project to widen that. Excellent. So one of the things we don't want to do, it's a fine line. How much money do we spend in maintenance? that we know is going to be torn up here in the next year. We should be expecting relocation of utilities, hopefully here soon. We're finalizing the right-of-way purchasing and all of those kind of things, and then McIwa will actually be widened in that section. So it's a fine line between how much money we spend that we know we're going to turn right around and rip out.
Right.
And then the same thing, veterans between Magnolia and Bailey. Again, that is a project to rehab that stretch of roadway, hopefully this summer with Brazoria County.
Perfect, thank you. And then this wasn't a question. It says, not a question, but a thank you for placing flags around town to honor our heroes this Memorial Day weekend.
Great comment, and it's the least we can do. So.
And then the next question said, since we're building like crazy everywhere, what future plans has the city looked into to, number one, mitigate flood risk, and number two, ease traffic congestion from the Beltway to Magnolia where it is clearly worsening?
I'd like to know what roadway from the Beltway to Magnolia. There's Cullen, there's several projects
Specifically.
there. So I would need to ask a clarifying question on that. We do have a complete capital improvement program that covers our entire city that we can go in from road widenings to rehab to those types of things. As far as mitigating flood risk, we 2023 bond program passed and approved. We are working those projects through. As a developer, I'll give you a little bit of development 101. A developer themselves have to do multiple drainage studies. They have to look at what is the drainage happening before they construct. They have to show a study of what it's going to do after they construct. And post-construction can't have runoff faster than pre-construction. So as we build and we have those types of things, the rules and regulations in place at the city as well as Drainage District number 4 are very difficult to pass. There's a lot of money and care and concern that goes into those, but flood mitigation risk is something we look at all the time. And just because someone builds next to you doesn't mean you'll flood.
Right.
They have to mitigate that, and a neighbor cannot flood a neighbor.
Right.
So if they do, they have legal recourse against them. So it would be something to take a look at. But as far as ease of traffic congestion, I would ask specifically where, so we can see what projects we have. We do have, we had a mobility study just completed with Houston Galveston Area Council. We saw that presentation this past Monday night, a week ago, that recommended some short-term, medium-term, and long-term projects. Some of what you're talking about here may be in that. It came out with a lot of recommendations in the short term of certain right-hand lanes, left turning, right turning, those types of things to speed traffic up.
Some easier fixes.
Yeah, right.
All right, perfect. And we answer the next question. So it goes to, can natural gas be piped into Heritage Green? Every neighborhood around it has gas. Would be great for the next power outage.
Yeah, both 32 and 33 here, both of the same question. It's something that would be a center point question, naturally, because they're the ones that would have to do that. Let me flag that, get with my counterparts at CenterPoint and see what the likelihood of bringing gas into that neighborhood would be. I agree, it's kind of hard to have a generator if you don't have natural gas. You have to have the old-fashioned way where you're doing it with regular gasoline.
Right.
It would be much safer if we were to have gas in those situations. And why it was not put in 40 years ago, I don't know, but it's something we can bring up to CenterPoint.
Perfect. And we answered that already in the next question, so I'm going to move on to the next one here. When can the road lines on Telephone Road from Beltway 8 through Pearland and Alvin be refreshed, repainted? Very hard to tell the road lines in the dark, and especially when it's dark out and raining.
It's a great question. That is actually maintained and done by TxDOT. That is a TxDOT roadway. It's one we will flag, and I will turn over to TxDOT, the local maintenance crew in Angleton, to take a look at. And they may have it on their radar, and we just don't know. But I'll turn it over to TxDOT, and we'll look to get a question back to that, or an answer back to it.
And it says, when can we get more police presence in the neighborhoods of Shadow Creek Ranch? Cars are speeding through the neighborhood.
Yeah, we have, unfortunately, neighborhoods, probably the chief complaint across town, whether you're in Shadow Creek or on the far east end of town, is people speeding through neighborhoods.
Right.
It unfortunately, and I'm not saying that to just say it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it's people probably living in your neighborhood speeding through your neighborhood.
Right.
Having and getting more police presence would require that across the entire community. We are always looking at how do we balance that with budget.
Right.
It's not an easy question, but that's something that we always need to look at. If you have a specific area, give me a specific area, and it may be something that we can target with motorcycle officers and those types of things.
Perfect.
Right.
Why isn't the southbound right lane on Hughes a right turn only lane into northbound Pearland Parkway? When is Hughes Road getting expanded?
We've answered the Hughes Road expanded. It's in final design right now. I would expect it to go under construction here in '26. So why isn't the southbound right lane on Hughes a right turn only lane onto the northbound Pearland Parkway? That's an engineering question. It's one that we'll just have to ask engineering. If we make those too much that way, it really cuts off. Everything in that intersection is going to be redone. So I'll have to ask engineering specifically that question.
And the next question is actually very similar to this one. It says something needs to be done about the right turn from 288 South Feeder to Broadway. And basically they reiterate that it's dangerous because of how quickly people are turning and all that. And they said, is there a way to put up those skinny poles on the stripping to make the cars turn into their own lane and drive a little bit before being able to cut left to turn onto Business Center?
It's a good question. This is one I'll turn over to engineering and our projects team to get a better answer for. I'm not a traffic engineer,
Right.
so I'll let our traffic engineers weigh in on that, and we can answer back.
And then we need more sidewalks on 518, please.
Again, I think that would be a specific question. We do have gaps, and we're trying to address some of those gaps where we have those. Historically, it's kind of interesting when the city was in its location and where we were, say, 20, 25 years ago. Our response at that time was, as development occurs, they will put in sidewalks. Instead of just putting in a sidewalk and spending tax money to do that, and then having developers come in and, crushing that sidewalk
Right.
as they developed, wasting tax money, doing that. We wanted, developers to pay for that. And so and now as some of our growth is slowing, it's coming back in, and we need to fill in some of those gaps. So that's where we are right now. But
So those were the last of the submitted questions,
Great
Mayor.
questions.
Do we have any more that have come in through the live stream?
So we have a handful of questions that came in. They got ahead of us a little bit, so I'll have to pull them up differently, but I can help you read them out. Brittany, if you want to go ahead and pull this up.
yeah, it's a great
There you
time.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. Okay, so the first one that came in, or one of them, was how much does the 51% rule discourage restaurants and entertainment facilities like Topgolf, Dave & Buster's from coming to Pearland? I know we kind of touched that a little
So
bit.
it's actually a great question. So the 51% rule no longer exists as 51%. It's now 60-40. COVID and the legislature coming out of COVID changed that law to 60-40. So 51% is now 40%.
Okay.
No. Yes, it's now 40%. So you could have 60% alcohol, 40% food, and other things. So when you talk about an entertainment venue like a Dave & Buster's or something like that, like if you're paying for entertainment options, not just food,
Right.
that counts towards the 40%. Whereas the old 51-49, I mean, it literally had to be on food. You couldn't buy merchandise, you couldn't buy membership, you couldn't buy those types of things, and it count towards it. When we've had organizations take a look at some of these larger areas, it really doesn't discourage them from bringing certain restaurants. Now, if you're looking for a bar and they don't sell food, they're going to have a hard time with the 51%
Right.
or the 60-40 rule. So those would be a lot more difficult. Next question.
All right, next one we have is we have a world-class library we all enjoy. The nearest, oh, it just popped to me. The nearest rec center is 25 minutes away from Shadow Creek Ranch. We need one on the west side too. We're asking for pickleball. We need more tennis courts. We're asking for basketball courts as well. Have lots of seniors in the area that could be doing classes there, after school summer programs run by the city. We need indoor volleyball courts. We could recoup some of the money through reservations of the courts and rooms, just like the library. It'll be right across the street from Memorial Hermann Sports Facility. It's brilliant. So
Yeah, so
similar.
Taryn, we've asked and answered that question in the segment here. Ultimately, that would be a CIP project with our parks and where we locate that. That would ultimately go to a vote of the people in how we do it. I think it's a great question. I think it's a great opportunity. How, what, and where that looks and how much it is certainly something that we would have to look at.
Perfect. This one's not showing up on the screen, but I'll read it out because it's a great question. The process to obtain a garage sale permit is ridiculous, impossible for elderly or non-tech savvy individuals. Scanning your QR code, uploading an ID, and inputting a great deal of information is crazy. Not to mention, permits can only be obtained on the east side. My elderly mother was frustrated with the process that she gave up. Please have someone on your staff attempt to obtain a permit, and you will see that it's just so convoluted for the average person.
Okay, it's something we'll just have to take a look at. I don't do garage sales, so I don't know.
Right.
So I don't want to weigh in on it. We do have garage sale permits for a reason. I do want to state that reason. This was put into place many years ago because we had perpetual garage sales. You know, we had people in town that literally had a garage sale every weekend. So they were running a business out of their house, not just one, multiple.
Right.
And so this was put into place to curb that. Imagine living next door to those and the problems that would exist. So, but always need to look at, we refreshed and looked at how we did this a few years ago. I agree, you should be able to walk into water billing and just obtain a permit and walk out with it, as opposed to necessarily having to do it online.
Perfect. Perfect. We have one question regarding public transportation, but I think we can reshare what we hit on already in the stream.
Okay.
And then two that just came in. Brittany, if you want to go ahead and pull those on. What can we do to have repairs done in Makawa Road just after the Clear Creek Bridge heading south into Pearland?
Yeah, so Michelle, we've answered that question somewhat. You know, in this cycle, we need to be careful. Probably the only thing we will do in the meantime is some light maintenance. Makawa itself is due to be widened completely, 4-lane curb and gutter concrete. We are in the process of finalizing right-of-way acquisition as we speak. Once that occurs, we will be moving all of the utilities in the area, and then once that's complete, we'll be under construction with the roadway. I would expect the roadway construction maybe in the next year or so after the utility work gets done.
Perfect. And then if you want to bring it up one more time, just this last question, when is the water department going to start doing their job? This might be an opportunity for us to follow up and see what the instance might have been there.
Yeah, I see Joy. They actually do a great job of doing what they do in the water department. I'm not sure specifically what needs to be addressed here. Meters are read. Meters are all working the way they're supposed to be working when they're done. We actually send somebody out to take a look at it. I'd like to know more specifically from Ms. Farmer what needs to be done there.
Perfect. I think that catches us up for the most part. There are things that we missed or that are coming in the last moment, then we'll attach them to next month.
Absolutely.
And then we can try to address
that'll
that.
be good. And we can also answer some of those on offline as well.
Absolutely.
Well, folks, I just want to thank you. Tori, thank you for coming in and
Thank
joining
you,
us
Nicole.
today. You know, it's not always easy coming in and doing this. We kind of rapid fire with some of the questions. There was a lot of questions, a lot of great questions. One of the things that I like doing this is we interface with people as much as we can. We try to get questions asked and answered and out there. And so, you know, and if we don't know an answer, you can see it. We don't know one. We're not going to speculate. We're going to get the right information, you know, to someone as best we can. We think we have a great place that we live and we work and we play here, but we can always do better. Any final thoughts on your experience here with Talk of the Town?
No, I just want to say again, thank you for having me here with you, and it's been excellent doing this today, and hopefully it's not raining anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think we're set for some rain for a little bit longer, but agree. We can use the rain as long as it doesn't come in buckets and it comes a little bit along the way. I think we can use it. As always, here on June the 1st, I'll close with this. On June the 1st, official start date for storm season, hurricane season starts. So be prepared. The city has been preparing everything that we do in the midst of a storm. We've had exercises with our personnel. We have plans in place. We have all of those kind of things going on. So I'll ask you at your particular house and your business, making sure that you're prepared for storm season. Have your water available, have your evacuation, what you need to evacuate in the event we need to. Have all of those plans ready, and available if we have a storm coming. They're predicting our storm season to be very similar to last year. Obviously, we had a storm Beryl that came through. It was a Category 1. It was not a very big storm, but it still packed a punch as we saw the damage in our community. So as always, be diligent with that, be prepared for that, have your plan in place so you can take care of your family. And with that, we'll come to you at the end of June. It's a pleasure doing this each and every month. Thank you for your questions. We will do our dead level best to get answers back to you in a timely fashion that we didn't get covered today. And with that, stay dry today and stay safe. Thank you.